She asked a cowboy for work. He told her, "Marry me by sunset or walk away." The sun was hot and slow over the land when Clara finally reached Dust Creek. Dust covered her shoes, her dress, and even her hair. She had been walking for days. Her small bag felt heavier with every step, even though it held very little. But Clara did not stop. She could not stop. Dust Creek was not a big town. It had a few wooden buildings, a general store, a small hotel, and a quiet road that looked like it had seen many stories come and go. People moved slowly here, like they had nowhere else to be. Clara stood at the edge of the town for a moment. She took a deep breath. This place looked like her last chance. "I just need work," she whispered to herself. She walked into town. The first place she tried was the general store. A middle-aged man stood behind the counter, counting coins. Clara stepped inside and gave a small, polite smile. "Sir, do you need help here?" "I can clean, organize, anything," she said. The man looked up, surprised. He studied her for a moment, then shook his head. "No need. I already got someone," he said shortly. Clara nodded. "Thank you anyway." She left quietly. Next, she tried the small hotel. The owner, a tired-looking woman, listened to her but gave the same answer. "I'm sorry, business is slow. I can't pay anyone extra." Clara thanked her and walked out again. By midday, she had tried almost every place in town. Each answer was the same. No work, no need, no space. Her steps became slower. Her hope began to fade. She sat down on a wooden bench outside a small cafe. She did not have money to buy food, but she needed to rest. Her hands were tired, her feet aching. An old man sitting nearby watched her quietly for a while. "You're not from here," he said. Clara looked up. "No, sir." "You look like you've been traveling far." "I have." He nodded slowly. "Looking for work?" "Yes." The old man leaned back. "Not much work in this town. But there is one place you could try." Clara sat up straighter. "Where?" "Turner Ranch, just outside town," he said. "Belongs to Cole Turner." "Will he hire?" she asked, hope returning to her voice. The old man gave a small, unsure smile. "Hard to say. He keeps to himself, doesn't trust easily. But he's fair, in his own way." Clara stood up immediately. "Thank you, I'll try." The old man watched her walk away, shaking his head slightly, as if he wasn't sure what would happen next. The road to Turner Ranch was long and quiet. The town slowly disappeared behind her. All that remained was open land, dry grass, and the sound of the wind. After some time she saw it. A wide piece of land, a strong wooden house, and a large barn. Horses moved calmly nearby. Everything looked clean, organized, and well cared for. Clara felt nervous, but she kept walking. Near the barn, a man was working. He stood tall, wearing a hat that shaded his face. His movements were steady and confident. He did not look up at first, as if he already knew someone was coming. Clara stopped a few steps away. "Sir?" she said gently. The man turned. His eyes were sharp but calm. He looked at her carefully, saying nothing at first. "Yes?" he finally said. "My name is Clara," she said. "I came from town. I'm looking for work. I can do anything. Cleaning, cooking, helping with animals. I learn fast." The man, Cole Turner, said nothing for a moment. He looked at her clothes, worn from travel. He noticed her tired face, but also her steady posture. She was not begging, she was asking. That caught his attention. "You traveled far?" he asked. "Yes." "No family here?" "No." Silence filled the space between them. Clara waited, her hands held together tightly. Finally, Cole spoke again. I don't need workers, he said simply. Clara's heart dropped, but she did not move. Please, she said quietly, I just need a chance. Cole studied her again. There was something different about her. She did not look weak, even though she was clearly tired. He took a slow breath. Then he said something unexpected. I won't give you a job. Clara's shoulders fell slightly, but before she could speak, he continued. I'll give you a choice. She looked up, confused. Cole's voice was calm, almost too calm. Marry me by sunset or walk away. Clara blinked, unsure if she heard him correctly. What? She whispered. You heard me, Cole said. No job, no second offer. That's the choice. The wind moved softly around them. Even the horses seemed quiet. Clara's mind raced. This was not what she expected, not even close. Marriage? To a stranger? She looked at him again, trying to understand if this was a joke, but his face showed no sign of humor. He was serious. Why? She asked. Cole did not answer directly. I need someone I can trust on this land, he said. Someone who stays. Clara swallowed slowly. The sun was already moving lower in the sky. Sunset was coming. And suddenly, Clara realized something very clear. This was not just an offer. It was a turning point in her life. She had only a few hours to decide, and no other place to go. The sun moved slowly across the sky, and Clara could feel time slipping away. She stood outside the ranch house, her thoughts heavy and fast. The wind brushed softly against her face, but it did nothing to calm her mind. Marry him? The idea felt strange, almost unreal. Clara walked a few steps away, trying to think clearly. She had come here looking for work, not a life-changing decision. But the truth was simple. She had no money, no home, and no one waiting for her. If she walked away, where would she go? Back to the town that had already turned her away? Or worse, somewhere unknown, with no promise at all? She closed her eyes for a moment. I just need to survive, she whispered. Clara decided to go back to town before making her choice. Dust Creek looked the same as before, quiet, slow, and distant. But now, it felt different. It no longer looked like a place of hope. It felt like a place that had already said no. She walked into the cafe again and sat down. The same old man was there. You came back quick, he said. Clara nodded. I met Cole Turner. The old man raised his eyebrows slightly. And? Clara hesitated, then said, He didn't offer me work. That sounds like him. He offered me marriage. The old man went quiet. For a moment he simply looked at her, as if trying to understand the situation. Well, he said slowly, that's unexpected, but not impossible. Clara frowned. What do you mean? Cole is not a bad man, the old man said, just a quiet one. Keeps his distance. Lost his family years ago. Since then, he trusts very few people. Clara listened carefully. He works hard, the old man continued. His ranch is one of the best around. But it's empty. No laughter, no life, just him and his work. Clara looked down at her hands. Do you think he would treat me fairly? She asked. The old man nodded. Yes, he's fair. Maybe not warm, but fair. That word stayed with her. Fair. Not kind, not loving, just fair. Clara stepped outside again. The sun was already lowering. The sky had started to turn soft and golden. Time was almost gone. She stood in the middle of the road, looking back toward the ranch. Her heart felt heavy, but her mind became clear. This is not a dream, she told herself. It's a deal. And maybe a deal was better than nothing. When Clara returned to Turner Ranch, the sky was painted with orange light. Cole was standing near the fence, as if he had been waiting. He looked at her, calm as before. You came back, he said. Clara nodded. Yes, she said quietly. There was a short silence. Then she spoke again. "I will marry you." Cole did not react with surprise. He only gave a small nod, like he had expected this. "But," Clara added, her voice steady, "this will be a partnership, not something else." Cole looked at her carefully. "No promises," she continued. "No expectations beyond respect. I will work, I will stay, but I won't pretend something I don't feel." The wind passed between them again. Cole thought for a moment. Then he said, "That's enough." Clara took a slow breath. "Then I agree." They were married before the sun disappeared. It was simple, quiet, no crowd, no celebration, just a few words spoken under the open sky with a man from town who happened to pass by and agreed to help. There were no smiles, no music, just a promise, a deal. That night, Clara stayed in the ranch house. Everything felt new and strange. The house was clean but empty. It had no personal touch, no warmth. It felt like a place made for living, but not for feeling. Clara placed her small bag near the bed and sat down. "This is my home now," she thought. The words felt heavy. The next morning began early. Clara woke up before sunrise. She stepped outside and saw Cole already working. He did not say much when he saw her. "There's water in the back," he said. "Food in the kitchen." Clara nodded. "I'll help." Cole looked at her for a moment, then gave a short nod. Days began to pass. Clara worked hard. She cleaned the house, cooked meals, and slowly learned how to help around the ranch. She did not complain. She did not ask for anything. And slowly, things began to change. The house felt less empty. The meals became warmer. The quiet spaces started to feel a little softer. The workers on the ranch noticed too. "She's strong," one of them said. "Stronger than she looks," another replied. Cole noticed as well. He saw how she worked without being told, how she fixed small problems before they became big ones, how she moved through the house like she was trying to bring life into it. But still, they did not talk much. Their marriage remained what it started as, a deal, not a dream. But somewhere, deep inside the silence, something small had begun to grow, and neither of them fully understood it yet. Days turned into weeks, and life on Turner Ranch began to find a quiet rhythm. Every morning, Clara woke up early. She cleaned the house, prepared simple meals, and helped wherever she could. She learned quickly how to care for the animals, how to fix small things, and how to manage the daily work of the ranch. She did not complain. She did not ask for more. But slowly, her presence changed the place. The house no longer felt empty. The windows stayed open longer. Fresh air and light filled the rooms. Small touches, like neatly folded blankets and warm meals, made a big difference. Even the workers noticed. "It feels different here now," one of them said one afternoon. "Yeah," another replied. "Feels like a real home." Cole noticed too. At first, he kept his distance, just like before. He spoke only when needed, short words, simple instructions. But he watched. He saw how Clara worked without being told, how she stayed calm even when the work was hard, how she never wasted time. And he noticed something else. She did not act like she belonged, but she also did not act like a stranger anymore. She was somewhere in between. One evening, the sky changed suddenly. Dark clouds gathered fast, covering the sun. The wind grew stronger, and the air felt heavy. "A storm is coming," one of the workers said. Cole looked up. He knew this kind of storm. It could cause trouble, especially for the animals. "We need to move the horses inside," he said quickly. The workers rushed to prepare. Clara stepped outside and saw the change in the sky. She didn't wait for instructions. "I'll help," she said. Cole glanced at her but didn't stop her. The wind grew louder as they worked. Dust rose into the air and the first drops of rain began to fall. The horses became restless, moving nervously. Clara stayed calm. She spoke softly to one of the horses, gently guiding it toward the barn. Her hands were steady, her voice quiet but strong. "It's okay. Come on," she whispered. Cole watched her for a moment. She was not afraid. Even as the storm grew stronger, she did not step back. Rain began to fall harder. Thunder echoed in the distance. Everyone moved quickly now. One of the gates came loose in the wind, swinging open. A horse nearly ran out. Clara reacted fast. She grabbed the rope nearby and tied the gate shut, her hands moving quickly despite the rain. Cole stepped forward to help, securing it properly. For a brief moment their eyes met. Neither of them said anything. But something passed between them, something quiet and real. After what felt like a long time, the storm began to calm. The rain slowed, the wind softened. Everything was safe. The animals were inside, and the ranch was secure. Later that night, the air felt cool and peaceful. Clara sat on the wooden steps outside the house, looking at the dark sky. The storm had passed, but her thoughts had not. Cole stepped outside and stood a few feet away. "You did well today," he said. Clara looked up, surprised. "Thank you," she replied softly. There was a short silence. Then Cole sat down on the steps, not too close, but closer than before. For a while, neither of them spoke. Finally, Cole said, "You're not like the others." Clara tilted her head slightly. "What do you mean?" "Most people leave when things get hard," he said. "You didn't." Clara gave a small, quiet smile. "I've seen harder days," she said. Cole looked at her, waiting. Clara hesitated, then spoke. "I didn't always live like this," she said. "I had a home once, a small one. But I lost it. Slowly. One problem after another." Her voice remained calm, but there was something deeper behind it. "I kept moving," she continued, "trying to find a place to stay, a place that would give me a chance." Cole listened carefully. "And then I came here," she said. Another silence followed. After a moment, Cole spoke again. "I asked you to marry me, not because I wanted a wife," he said. "I needed someone who would stay, someone who wouldn't leave when things got difficult." Clara looked at him. "I know," she said. Their eyes met again. This time, the silence felt different. Not empty, but full. Then Clara said something that changed everything. "I won't stay forever." Cole's expression shifted slightly. "What?" he asked. Clara took a slow breath. "This was a deal," she said gently. "I needed a place to survive. You needed someone to stay. That's what we agreed." Cole said nothing. "I will leave one day," she continued, "when I know I can stand on my own again." The words were simple, but they carried weight. The quiet between them returned, but now it felt heavier. Cole looked away, his jaw tight. For the first time, something inside him felt unsettled. He had made this arrangement to avoid feeling anything, but now he wasn't sure that was still true. Clara stood up slowly. "I should go inside," she said. Cole nodded, but he did not look at her. She walked back into the house, leaving him alone on the steps. The night grew quieter, but inside both of them, something had changed. What started as a simple deal was no longer that simple, and neither of them knew what would happen next. The next morning felt different. The air was calm, the sky was clear, but something had changed between Clara and Cole. Clara woke up early, just like every day, but this time her movements were slower. Her thoughts were heavy. She folded her clothes carefully and packed her small bag again. She looked around the room. It no longer felt like a stranger's place. It felt familiar, and that made it harder. Outside, the ranch was quiet. The workers had not arrived yet. The animals moved calmly in the soft morning light. Everything looked peaceful, like nothing had changed. But inside Clara, everything had. She stepped out of the house with her bag in her hand. She paused for a moment at the door. "It's time," she whispered to herself. Cole was already outside. He stood near the fence, looking at the land. His posture was still, but his mind was not. He had not slept much. Clara's words from the night before stayed with him. "I won't stay forever." He had told himself this was only a deal, nothing more. But now, the idea of her leaving felt wrong. Clara walked toward him slowly. "I'm leaving," she said gently. Cole turned. For a moment, he said nothing. He just looked at her. At the same woman who had walked into his life with nothing and somehow changed everything. "You've done your part," she continued. "The ranch is running well. You don't need me anymore." Her voice was calm, but her eyes held something deeper. Gratitude. And something else she did not name. Cole took a step forward. "That's not true," he said. Clara shook her head slightly. "It is. This was always temporary." Silence stood between them again, but this time it felt like a moment that mattered. Clara adjusted the strap of her bag. "Thank you," she said, "for giving me a chance." She gave a small, soft smile. Then she turned to leave. Each step she took felt heavier than the last. The ranch stretched behind her, the house, the barn, the quiet life she had built. She did not look back, because she knew, if she did, she might not leave at all. Cole watched her walk away. At first, he did not move. His mind was filled with thoughts he could not easily understand. He had spent years building walls around himself. He had told himself he didn't need anyone. And then Clara came. Not loudly, not forcefully, but slowly, quietly. She changed things. Cole looked around the ranch. It was the same land, the same house, but without her, it already felt empty again. He took a deep breath, then another, and suddenly something became clear. This was not about a deal anymore. This was about a choice. "Clara!" His voice broke the quiet morning. Clara stopped walking. Her heart began to beat faster. Slowly, she turned around. Cole was walking toward her now. Not fast, not rushed, but certain. When he reached her, he stood just a few steps away. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The sun was rising behind them, filling the sky with soft light. "I was wrong," Cole said finally. Clara looked at him, surprised. "This was never just a deal," he continued. "Maybe I wanted it to be. Maybe it felt easier that way." He paused. "But it's not anymore." Clara's grip tightened slightly on her bag. She didn't speak. She waited. Cole looked directly at her. "I don't want you to stay because of an agreement," he said. "I don't want you to stay because you feel like you owe me something." His voice was steady. "I want you to stay because you choose to." The words hung in the air, simple, honest, real. Clara felt something shift inside her. For the first time, there was no pressure, no condition, just a choice, her choice. She looked back at the ranch, the place where she had found safety, the place where she had worked, grown, and slowly felt something she had not expected, belonging. Then she looked at Cole. He was not asking for a promise. He was not giving an order. He was simply offering. Clara took a slow breath. "I came here because I had no place to go," she said. Cole nodded. "I stayed because I had no other choice." He said nothing. Then she gave a small smile. "But now," she continued, "I have one." The morning light grew stronger. The sky turned golden. Everything felt still. Clara lowered her bag. She did not drop it. She simply let it rest. "I'll stay," she said softly. Cole did not smile widely. He did not say much. But the tension in his shoulders faded, and for the first time, he looked at peace. They stood there for a moment in the quiet morning. No rush, no pressure, just two people who had started with a deal and ended with a choice. As the sun rose higher over Dust Creek, the ranch no longer felt empty, and this time, Clara stayed. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to.